And then I like this one. This shawl. Oh, look, a little train. Look at a train.
So this is a series called Flatland, and it's a series of animations that I think I maybe even had started before a meditation, but definitely was influenced by its making, in the idea of using videos to um, create illusions of space. And there are lots of video animation and editing programs which have all sorts of built-in features to allow you to create cylinders and spheres and, whatever, illusions of space, perspective. Um, and I was really interested in using cell phone videos again, this time not with any specific thematic overlay, but just kind of interesting images that, were beautiful or had interesting colors. And then kind of finding moments where these illusions of space broke down. So, it was kind of a lot of experimentation, and I know there's at least one person listening who helped out with this, and kind of just keeping an eye open to the moment when the illusion either breaks down or flips, something that appears to be convex suddenly becomes concave. It's those kinds of little moments that I was kind of looking for. I also really like the idea of a kind of collision of different modes of spatial representation. So the video as one way of depicting space, but then you've got the kind of graphic shapes, like here the red, and then you've got the kind of 3D animation, so the cylinder. So what I'm talking about here is right here, you can see how the imagery of a pair of glasses has been morphed to create an illusion of a cylinder. But then when a red plane intersects it, that should be cut on a curve where the red plane meets the cylinder of the video, but it doesn't. It's a straight line. So it's those kinds of moments were the things I was looking for. Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting once you kind of create these images or these illusions of space, and then you start kind of having different interactions between forms, like, you know, this slab, you know, doesn't really feel like it should fit in that cylinder. I was also influenced, you can just have this play, by kind of, you know, this classic illusion from Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, and the idea that, you know, the circle becomes an ovoid on the ground, which then becomes a hole that, of course, Wile E. Coyote has to fall through. And the videos have a similar kind of slow pace and a sort of quiet, I don't know, I guess I think humor, but a humor that is maybe a bit reflective. So you kind of just makes you question what you're seeing. So here, for example, you've got the sun, which is just a plain disk next, and then once it goes behind the water, it comes out at the other end as still a circle, but black, tilting in space. It suddenly there. It kind of rests down on the surface and does that kind of Wile E. Coyote hole thing. The other thing, I mean, the more serious aspect is, as I was making these, Trump was in power. And, you know, this whole idea of truthiness and relative truths and started to kind of arise. And I thought it's kind of interesting how photography and then video used to be this documentation of truth, right? This was reality. But now with the advent of video animations, of like photoshopping, it's kind of the opposite. We look at, say, photography and we say, oh, well, she's been photoshopped, or that has been manipulated, or we recognize just the power of editing to alter our understanding of a recorded moment. So, you know, I think the piece kind of hints at those sorts of ideas too. I wanted to have a few different videos playing simultaneously, but not necessarily all five all the time. So there's lots of black, and where the black falls in each monitor kind of rotates around randomly. And I guess I was thinking of kind of salon hangings in art galleries where you see a whole bunch of imagery mashed together. And I thought, you know, that's the way we tend to experience the world these days. I mean, think of the monitors on the screens in subway stations. You know, you have the scrolling news, and then you have the temperature, and then you have the delays, and then you have the clock. And then, so a little bit of this kind of multiple sensory kind of stimulus taking place, but slowed down enough that it becomes a bit more reflective. The audio is only intermittent. It only exists tied to a specific video, and it is the audio shot with the video. It's never manipulated or music added or anything. It's just, if the audio is good and it seems to add something, I included it. When what's happening is just interesting and it's kind of slow movement through space, then I just leave it silent.